Hello.
Hi, guys.
All right, today we are talking about a comment I got from Ashley, and I said, I'm going to make this into a show because I thought it was so good. Because this shows where people just do not see where all their money is going. And so they jump to conclusions. I'm disheveled.
You need your mother to fix something for you.
I got it, I think. Well, no, I didn't. So I'm not kidding. 10 minutes ago, I was out in the garden. 15 minutes ago.
You can see she's got paint and
I didn't even get the paint off. It is gardening season. That takes priority. If you guys noticed, I have not put any videos out this week. All right. So I am sharing this comment with you because it's where it goes back to just knowing where all your money is going. Ashley says, oh my word, can we be friends? Yes. You are amazing. Thank you. I'm currently a working mom, and we have got a working dad too. One kiddo, one more due in December, at which point I told my hubs I will be a stay-at-home mom. He says the numbers, he's a numbers guy, aren't numbering right now to do that. Okay. I'm not sure what else to do aside from encourage him to find a better paying job, or we move to someplace more affordable. He makes $82,000 a year before taxes, and I make $32,000 a year. And the only debt we have is our house, about $150,000, but oof, mortgage is killing us or something. We live in a state where on a geographical level, things are one of the most expensive, Idaho. We are one car used family who lives 45 minutes from our jobs and daycare. We're from Illinois. And even though we don't want to move back, we're seeing that Illinois has become much more affordable comparatively to our current state of Idaho. No, it's not. I hate it because my hubs just got the job in February and loves it. What do I do? We both know that 2 kids in daycare are a no-no because financially it doesn't make sense, but financially we don't spend a lot, and a lot of our savings is going to retirements and our kids' accounts. I would love to stay at home with my bubby and my baby too. I just don't know how it's going to be a thing. I responded and said, I'm going to make this into a show. I have lived in Idaho, and it's been a while, 25 years, and I know it's more expensive now, but your hubby makes $82,000 a year and your mortgage is just $150,000. That is very, very doable. Your problem isn't the mortgage or Idaho. It's spending somewhere. You need to stay where you are. Idaho is 1,000 times better than it will ever be in Illinois. Okay, so, and then she responded, I'm going to get to her response here, but first I got to say a few things. So first of all, she's only bringing in about $2,000, just under maybe $1,800 after taxes a month. Then if she's got a kid in daycare, that means she's bringing in like $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. That is not even close to being worth working for $1,000 a month.
Especially if they have a second child then in daycare. It'll bring that number even down.
You're going to be making like $300 a month, $200 a month. That's just ridiculous. Now, Idaho, yes, I know all the Californians have moved into Idaho and made everything go up, but your house, now what I couldn't tell from a comment where going back and forth through email would have been much better, and I should have had her email me, but what I couldn't tell is she said her mortgage is $150,000. If her entire mortgage is only $150,000, that's peanuts. That is a cheap mortgage, and you have nothing to worry about. You literally, I mean, unless you're in Mississippi in a mobile home, you really can't get much cheaper than that now.
Yeah. And I don't know how long they've been in Idaho, but I think she would be shocked at the prices. They're going up everywhere, in other words, including Illinois.
If she only has $150,000 left on the mortgage, it would be helpful to know how much their mortgage is. So I'll just assume, let's say $400,000 in Idaho, and they're paying $3,000 a month for your mortgage. Okay, yeah, that is more expensive. And you didn't say, did she say when the baby was due? let's see, one in December. So you've got 6 months, and I would do as much as you can to get that mortgage paid down even more. You could probably get at least another $20,000 paid on it, and that might get your payment down even more. Now, as far as Illinois being cheaper than Idaho, listen, okay, I'm really sorry for all of you who are in Idaho, and I know I'm going to get it, but as far as states go, it's one of the toilet states of the United States. I'm really sorry. It is. The taxes are ridiculously high. The crime is ridiculously high. I know not all of Illinois is that way. We had looked to moving there. I totally get
Illinois or Idaho?
No, Illinois.
Oh.
They want to they should go back to Illinois because it's cheaper. You are going to pay for that cheaper with higher taxes, because I guarantee you the taxes are higher in Illinois than they are in Idaho at the moment. You're going to pay with your sound mind of all the crime and everything that's going on in Illinois. It isn't even close to being the same as Idaho. Idaho is 1,000 times better than Idaho. Now, than Illinois. Yeah, Idaho's 1,000 times better than Illinois. So she came back and said, sorry, tried to sneeze. She came back and said, thank you so much. Oh, I 100,000% agree. Idaho is miles better in so many ways.
We love Idaho. I loved Idaho.
Sorry,
when
Idaho
you started out,
nice.
You said Idaho wasn't very good. So that's
I meant Illinois isn't very good. Sorry.
Because we loved Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho was great. We do put away. Now, here's where the key is. We do put away a lot towards retirement and our kids' accounts for trade school or whatnot later in their lives. We're with you. We believe in the fact that you don't have to go to college to make something with your life. Trade schools rock. Nothing against college. If they want to go, sure, go for it. But they don't have to. But all that to say, we have right now an average of $300 a month we use for groceries. I'm in charge of that. Hubs is in charge of vehicle insurance, health, dental, eye insurance. We get through his work. He still pays some for myself and our boy. We don't really spend on clothes or going out to eat. We both love to cook, and it's so enjoyable. We have family and friends who graciously give us gift cards and hand-me-downs of clothing. Love it. We have the mortgage and currently my prenatal appointments at our boy's pediatric medical appointments. He also goes to pediatric dermatologist because he's got some skin issues and that's costing us more. Other than the standard stuff and added medical appointments, we really don't spend in the traditional sense. Thank you for making this episode. I just found you guys and you have been so affirming to how we've decided to live our lives in, as some may call, a more frugal sense. Okay. So she said the key right there. They are so worried about the future that they're taking away from today.
Yeah.
There is such a thing
yeah.
as being so stressed out about the future that you are ruining your present. Now, she didn't say how much a lot was. And I was trying to see if she happens to be in the comments right now. Yeah, Audrey says also the cost of moving. Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So she's not on there right now, but she didn't say how much they're putting towards the kids' college and how much they're putting towards retirement. The kids' college can stop right now. If you want to put $100 a month away or something, I guess, or $50 a month, I guess. But frankly, the kids can pay for their own college. If you get your house totally paid off, then you can start putting some to your kids' college. Now, if his employer is matching retirement or something like that, then that's fine. Go ahead and be putting that in. But I really wouldn't be putting a huge amount into your retirement either, and just get your house paid off. $80,000 is what he's bringing home. And after taxes, that'll probably be I don't know what the tax bracket is now, but I mean, he'll probably be bringing around 70 probably after taxes if you're not working. That is more than doable, especially as frugal as she is.
Especially with the things she listed that they're doing, it should be okay. They should be okay.
And so you're so worried about the future for your retirement and your kids' school that you're taking away from the present right now. And literally, you will be making like $1 an hour if you put both kids in daycare. So you can't afford not to stay home. You have to stay home. You can't afford to, you can't afford to not stay home. You have to stay home because you're not going to be making any money. You're already only making like $15 an hour, which personally, I don't think that's worth it. But, that's up to you. All right, guys, this video is brought to you by Dining on a Dime cookbooks. In the description below, 25% off right now. We have volume 1 and volume 2. Start with volume 1 if you need to start somewhere. And then the green one is our gluten-free, dairy-free edition. You can eat better, spend less right now with ingredients you already have and recipes your family will eat. And I think we have like 4 or 5 very, very slightly damaged planners that are on clearance left, is all we have left. Okay, so what are some things that she can be doing? Really, I don't know if she can be doing a whole lot more aside from staying at home. I mean, they're not eating out. They're driving used cars. They're down to 1 car. Now, they do drive 40 minutes back and forth to town, but you know what? I don't think going to town any closer. When we lived in Idaho, we were 70 miles each way. I don't think moving any closer to town is really going to help you because it's going to be more expensive and you're going to have $10,000 to $15,000 at least in moving costs. And depending on how much your house is, you're going to lose all that equity paying a realtor. I really don't think it's worth moving. So quite frankly, I think you need to just not be afraid and just do it.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, personally, if I was in their shoes, and this is just my opinion, I would take all the money they've saved for the kids' whatever it was, and I would take that money and pay off the house.
Well, now there are sometimes when they do that, there's going to be tax consequences and stuff like that.
If there is, that's fine. But if there's not, I would take all that money and pay off the house. Because I don't think people totally realize, they panic over retirement and how am we going to survive for retirement and that type of thing. And I thought, why are people panicking so much more about retirement? I mean, I'm all for saving for retirement, because it's going to happen no matter what. But it seems like there's a level of panics, where you got to save, we got to put it in 401ks. We got to do this. We got to do that. What do I do to retire? And I think you should start saving a little bit when you're young, not a whole lot. That little bit will add up really fast over a few years by the time you're ready to retire. So I wouldn't be putting huge chunks in if you're in debt or you're worried about finances right now for the retirement. Just do a little bit. And I thought, why are people so panicky? Because now when people retire, what they've done is they haven't really saved for retirement that much. And they're so in debt. They have a house mortgage, they have credit card debt. And so if they hit retirement and they can't work anymore, what's going to happen? You can just imagine what would happen. That's why everybody puts so much emphasis on the retirement now.
Their vision of retirement is they're planning on traveling and eating out and all this stuff. And they're not going to have the money to pay for that because they're in hock up to their eyeballs.
Yeah. And so if you get all the way out of debt by the time you retire and you've got that mortgage paid off, can you imagine? Most people have $1,500 to $2,000 mortgage, house payment every month, about that. And that would be almost $2,000 extra you would have every month if you pay off that house. Like I said, take the kids' fun and pay off that mortgage, because then what happens from that month on, after you do that, you can take $1,000, say, and put towards the kids' stuff from then on, and use the extra $500, to live with. Use what to live on. Just get rid of that mortgage and stop worrying. Like Tara said, don't worry about the future so much. Worry more about right now and getting that house paid off. And another thing, I don't think people understand. I was listening to a inflation thing, and I thought people don't fully understand what inflation means. They're worrying about inflation, and rightly so. I think it's going to get worse. But what's going to happen for inflation is, let's say you've got a house mortgage and inflation happens. Okay. That means if but you've got a beautiful retirement savings going. You still have a huge house mortgage, but a beautiful retirement savings, and inflation hits. If you have, let's say, $100,000 in the bank savings, and really, really bad inflation, like the Depression hits or something like that, that $100,000 will drop down to maybe $1,000. Now, don't get hung up on the numbers. I'm just trying to show you how drastic that could go. You could go down to all that retirement be gone, and you had only $1,000. Plus, you still have a house payment, a huge house payment. And they could, within 2 weeks' time of that happening, call in your mortgage and say, we want you to pay the whole thing off. I had 2 weeks. I got a notice from the bank, and they said, in 2 weeks, you have to come up with $35,000. I was making $4.50 an hour. To come up with $35,000 in 2 weeks to pay off my house wasn't going to happen. Now, but if you have that house paid off and then inflation hits and you don't have quite as much in retirement, nothing, your house, you'll have your home. And even though you don't have that much money then to lose, but see, the other way, you'd lose your house and you would lose your retirement. Does that make sense? So that's why I always talk about paying off your mortgage before you do anything else. Get that mortgage paid off, because I think things are going to get worse. And you've got probably about 18 years or so that you can, once you get your mortgage paid, you can start adding to the kids' after you get that paid, to the kids' in your retirement, little bit by little bit. Is everybody upset now with that, or
no? I have to laugh because I saw this sign on Facebook today, and it says, re-electing Biden is like the Titanic backing up to hit the iceberg again.
Oh, that's tacky, daughter.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
I know it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It doesn't matter. I was thinking today, I don't think people think that we're coming up on an election here in the States in November. And we've talked about inflation happening, taking it kind of easy. But I don't think people realize after the election, I think everything, now this is just my opinion, but I think everything is just going to go poof downhill. No matter who gets elected, it won't matter, because it's already on a roll now so bad that it's going to take something short of a miracle for it to come back. So I'm telling you this because you've got to get these things done, like you're out of debt and your house paid off. And I know we sound like a broken record, but seriously, guys, you've got to hunker down and stop spending the money any place you can, and do the numbers and figure.
Okay. Put your comments and questions in the comment box, and Mike will send them to me if you guys have questions. Now I know we're going to but you still have to pay your taxes and insurance. Oh. Okay. No kidding. But you're going to go from paying $2,000 a month down to $300 to $500 a month.
Yeah.
Use your brain, people.
It's like the most ridiculous
comment we get every single time.
Yeah.
It's like you don't understand your insurance and taxes are in your mortgage.
So it's like,
my goodness, if you're smart enough to buy a house, you need to be smart enough to know how this works.
Yeah. And you need to figure it out. If you don't understand it, you need to it's like we used to always get the comment. I had a friend one time, I said she got a huge check with a life insurance from when her husband passed away. And I said, why don't you pay off your house? She said, oh no, I'm not going to pay off my house, because if I pay off my house, then I won't get a tax write-off. She didn't realize the interest she was paying on that house was way more than the tax write-off. So she was paying money every month or every year in order to get that tax write-off. It was just like, you have to educate yourself. And I have to give you guys kudos because you are coming here asking questions and wanting to know. So it's like I'm preaching to the choir. But, you've got to think this stuff through and actually know where your money is going down to the details, which just reminded me. I heard another thing today about people buying the apps and the games and all these different things on their phone. People are starting to get $200 to $300 a month charge on these games and these apps and things that they're not using on their phone.
Oh, I bought my first thing on the phone, Kimmy, yesterday.
So now I'm preaching to my daughter.
No, it was something I actually needed. I was at Walmart getting my beauty cream, and it was $10 cheaper on Amazon, and I just clicked buy on my phone. Are you guys proud of me?
Oh, well, you have to be careful. I went and heard a gal on YouTube one time, not too long ago, and they were driving through a snowstorm. Her and her husband were. I think I maybe told you guys this story before, but they were driving through a snowstorm, and she said, I was so scared, so stressed that I got out my phone, and she said, I started buying stuff on my phone. She said, I was stress shopping. She said, I shop all the time. And then when they got home from the trip, she had all these packages. She couldn't even remember what she'd bought. Be careful of this, you guys. It's so easy just to buy things online, buy things on our phone. And a lot of people won't even mention that stuff in the things where they're spending their money, because they do it so automatic without thinking. You have to be more careful. When we used to just hand them the cash at the grocery store, we knew how much we was actually spending. We could see the money leave our hand, and we were a little more cautious. Now we don't see any of that. We just type some buttons, and then we've got an item that we want. So be careful.
All right, Mike, did you send me the first batch of questions? Okay. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Paying off your mortgage. Yeah. And then the next thing is the kids is college education. Listen, I would go through, yes, there are taxes and that kind of thing on taking out your retirement and all of that. I get that. But add it up. Mm-hmm. You put that money in there tax-free. But if you pull it out, make sure that it's not just the normal amount of tax that you would normally paid if it was before that. Because let's say I put my money in whatever I'm putting it in, and it's tax-free, and I go to pull it out, and I get charged the 25% tax that I would normally get charged on my income if I wasn't just directly putting it in there. Well, you're ending up the same anyway.
Especially if you're paying a bunch of interest on the mortgage too, or having to pay, other debt for things.
Yeah. And
it'd be better to lose a little bit of money to gain money is what we're saying.
Just sit and do the math. So like for us, Mike had some retirement when we were first married, when he worked at the university. I don't know. It wasn't hardly anything at all. It was like $1,000 or $2,000. But we cashed it out because we did not have an emergency savings. And because he was earning like $6 an hour or something at the time. Well, I think that was $9 an hour at the time. We were always going back into debt because we just didn't have an emergency savings. So we cashed that out, had our emergency savings, was never in debt again except for our mortgage. But we've never had debt again. And this emergency that we had a couple months ago, that's part of that is still on credit cards, but we're not paying any interest on it. So we're just taking our time paying it, rebuilding our savings again while we're paying that off. And my point is something. My point is, where was I talking about?
Usually I can figure out where you're going.
And sit and figure out. Mm-hmm. We figured out that we were always $1,000 short getting the car fixed or whatever. When we cashed in that retirement, even though we lost our 10% at the time because he was making so little money, income tax and all that stuff, it was better for us to cash that out and have the savings than to have that sitting in retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So
follow through on this stuff. Really stop. I think sometimes we get kind of brainwashed by the media and stuff we hear on the internet and everything, that we need to have a college fund for the kids. We need to have a big retirement going. And we kind of get a little bit brainwashed thinking that's the only way to go. That may not work for you at the moment. There are other options and other ways to do things.
Yeah.
We don't always have, I never have had a retirement ever, and I never had anything for my kids. You've got to think about this. My kids, they went to, I guess you'd call it a trade school is what you'd went to, and my son too. And I never paid a penny towards helping them with that. I don't think I did. And what you've got to realize, they're going to be adults when it comes time for them to get that education. Yeah, if you've got the money at the time when that happens and you want to contribute and help a little bit, that's perfectly fine. But they're going to be adults. They need to, you don't even know what's going to be happening with them for that type of thing, what they're going to want to do or anything. But they can go to school. My kids worked, Tara started when she was 15 working at a regular job. Was it 14? 14 when she started a regular job at the hospital.
And I started volunteering when I was 13, so I would have experience to work when I was 14.
So she was working a regular job. That was 14. And she worked that and different jobs all the way through for the rest of the time. They can get a summer job. Even if your kid is in college and you're thinking you need to pay for their college, that child, if you're paying for their college, they should be working all summer long, 1 to 2 jobs. I mean, 1 to 2 jobs.
Karen says college is not a birthright. Amen.
No,
sister.
It's not. And why we've been brainwashed to think it is, or we've been brainwashed we're not very good parents if we don't pay for our kids' college education. I remember a gal one time, she was a stranger to me. I don't know why she came to my house, and I was visiting with her, and she was really upset. She said, I am so mad at my son right now. We paid tens of thousands of dollars for him to go to college to literally become a rocket scientist. I'd never heard of anybody that had become a rocket scientist. And she said he did. He worked at, I think it was NASA, that he worked with for like 2 years. And she said he was just so stressed out by it that he just one day told him he quit and he went to horticulture school and he became a gardener landscaper.
And he probably makes more money.
And she was so mad at him because all that money was gone. And sometimes kids don't even appreciate it that much. They can quit because they don't want to do it and mom and dad paid for it, so I don't have to worry about it, Yep. So I think it's one of the worst things parents can do is to totally pay for that child's college, All
right, guys, this video is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbooks. You can eat better, spend less today. Volume 1 and Volume 2 are totally different recipes. They go together, but you can use them separately, totally different recipes. Start here. This is all the basics, your taco seasonings, all your easy dinners. It's not crazy foods. Then our gluten-free, dairy-free edition. And then our undated planners. We have about 5 or 6 barely damaged. You can hardly see it left on that. Sandy says parents do not owe their children nothing half the time. Adult children do not appreciate it. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, and you're not teaching them to appreciate things, to be responsible for themselves, and to be independent of you when you pay for everything like that.
All right. Gail says Pam says, anyone else start their garden? Yes, I was gardening today. I have been at it for a week. I didn't even do videos.
Hard, really hard.
Well, I got zapped in the neck on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
So it took me a couple of days to recover from that. And then, or I got shot in the neck, actually. And then my daughter, wait till you hear how we spent our Memorial Day weekend. So my daughter calls us Friday night at 9:00 and says, are you guys doing anything? Like, no, my daughter. She always does this. It's funny. Half the time she'll just show up at our door, which is fine. We don't care. But her and her husband came up Saturday morning. So that was nice. And Saturday night, they took a shower.
Oh, that's right.
And said, Mom, Dad, we think there's poop water coming out of
the floor,
the heater room. We were like, what? So our sewer decides to back up. And so Ellie and I are,
oh, wait till you see this picture. Wait till you see this.
Standing in poop water, sopping it up. Let's see. Here, hold on. Let me share.
In their pajamas. Stars
this is at 10 o'clock at night. So, it's hard to tell. Let me see if I can scroll in. Okay. So there you can see all the lovely turds.
They're barefooted too.
In our bare feet. Now, it was up to our feet, up to the top of our feet. Like the bottom of my pajamas were wet.
Oh.
And thankfully, I am so thankful that she caught it before it started seeping under the drywall into the carpet, into the next room, and up the drywall.
Show them the picture.
So I am. Oh. So Ellie and I ran. I don't know where all the guys were, but Ellie. Well, yeah, I do know. Mike was. I said, okay, let me start sopping. While Mike was trying. It was like 9:55 or 45. 9:45. It was 9:45. When we first discovered it. And Mike's like, the only place in town still open is Walmart, and they close in 15 minutes. I guess I'll see if they have an auger. So I said, okay, I'll start slopping. Then the boys came down. Well, Ellie and I were already up to our ankles in poop water. So I told the boys, I said, stay out there. And so the boys were supervising. The boys are out there supervising. Oops, wait a minute. I didn't. Hold on. There it is. So there's the boys supervising right there. Do we still love them? Dave was asleep.
Dave was just sleeping.
Dave slept through it all. And he was totally asleep. So Ellie and I were slopping poop water, and we'd fill the buckets, and the boys would take them out and then dump them on the rocks. And we had poop water all in the heater room and in the hallway. Thankfully, it didn't get further than that. So that's how we started off for Memorial Day weekend. So anyway, so they were here, and it was fun. And then we had a bunch of other stuff going on too. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, we had a bunch of other stuff getting ready for some things, and let's just say it wasn't relaxing. Mike mowed. How many hours did you mow this weekend, Mike? 4, 5? I don't know. He was mowing and mowing because our mower broke, and then it rained. And so it's been crazy. Emily says the boys were poopervising.
Poopervising.
Yeah, we ordered a part for the mower and it never came, so Mike had to finally jimmy rig it. But anyway, so that's how our Memorial Day went. But you know what's hilarious about that? As we were downstairs, let's see, is it in this picture? Hold on, let me see if it's in this picture. Oh yeah. So I looked and I was like, why is there a plunger in this room?
Oh.
As we were slopping water and I was moving stuff, I'm like, there's a plunger. Why is there a plunger in this room? So I pulled the plunger out and just started plunging, and the water would come back up. Well, and everything else. There was corn for dinner, whoever had it.
Oh.
it came back
Good
up.
thing I got a strong
So go
stomach.
back down, and it would come back up, and it would go back down. And like the 5th time, I heard gurgling, and then everything went down.
Oh, they've had trouble before.
So we aren't sure. What we're wondering, BJ is wondering if maybe a mouse got in the line or something and died and clogged it and has been decomposing. I would think we would have smelled it though, and we never smelled anything. And we haven't had any signs of mice, knock on wood.
We put hundreds of gallons of water through it to test it afterwards.
Yeah. And so then we spent like a half an hour, 45 minutes running water from all over the house. After Mike got back at about 10:30.
Missing all the fun. Mike missed all the fun.
But he came back with lots of Drano and an auger that we found out we couldn't use either one. So anyway, all right. So then this weekend I did start my garden. Back to the garden question. I mean, I got going on my garden, and if you'll notice, there was no videos going out this week, and I didn't really care. I just was doing my garden. So
she was in the zone for sure.
Paula learned a new Walmart burger secret sauce and make a Big Mac. It tastes yum. She must mean she learned how to make a homemade Big Mac. Yum.
Oh.
Tabitha, Cottis Life, hello. And Aubrey says for Ashley's question, also the cost of moving. Yes, the cost of moving, you have to add that in. Letitia says they'll just need to put the taxes in the budget is all when you pay off your house. Yes. You budgeted a house payment. You can budget your taxes and insurance, people. Oh my goodness. This is not rocket science. Maybe some of you should be taking rocket science school. Jacqueline got some free rhubarb, and now she's going to look in the cookbook for recipes. I don't have any rhubarb recipes in there.
No, we don't. You have a lot of rhubarb too.
Nope, and I have a lot now. Gail, we had honey garlic chicken that is in our Dining on a Dime Volume 1 and our bread pudding for dessert. It was amazingly delicious. Bread pudding is a great way to use up leftover bread. Kenneth says in Oklahoma, the money is blown in the wind. Because Kenneth's house got blown away by a tornado. He informed us last week.
I felt so bad for you last week when you were telling. I mean, I'm laughing. I don't mean to be laughing at it. It just came across funny. I feel so bad.
I wonder if we could talk. I don't think he'll care. Well, I have to tell you a funny story about my son. So he's building a tiny house, and he had an RV that's another tiny house.
Oh, that's
and funny. I don't think he'll care if we
I don't think he'll mind.
And so he sold his other tiny house, and when the woman pulled it off the property, she knocked. What's that called, Mike?
Pile.
What's that thing called? Pylon?
It's a communications pylon.
Pylon. A communications pylon. Whatever that is. Well, I know what it is. It's the stick thing that has all the electric and internet and all that kind of stuff in it. She ran over it. And he said that can cost up to $200,000 to $300,000 to fix. And she ran over it with the RV that he had made into a tiny house. Well, so then my son was like, oh, I forgot I had an air tag in there, and I forgot to get it out before we left. And he went and looked, and the RV's been sitting at the salvage lot for the last 10 days.
Well, it just tore up the RV, tore it up to smithereens besides the pile guard.
The guy who bought it, he's like, oh, it'll be fine. And they just drove off and gave the people their insurance and then drove off and everything. So BJ was like, okay, it's not my
They
thing
paid
anymore.
him for it. But, he was afraid that they just paid him for it. They could have turned around and said, we don't.
So anyway.
Because she really damaged the RV.
So it's been sitting in a salvage yard. We think she damaged it so bad. Can you imagine buying something and then just turning around? We were just
and
like
destroying it as you're driving it off the lot.
Yeah. So what made me think of it was my son was in Oklahoma also. And so he was blown in the wind when he had the tornado too. But anyway, Seeking Joy. Hello from California. I wonder how long it took to research and create your cookbook. 2 years to write both of them. And then, so this one was 2 years. And then this one was also 2 years.
And that was two of us working on it at the same time.
This one took me a year and a half to do. Although the Dining on the gluten-free, dairy-free is a revision of this. So half of the recipes were already done for me, but I did have to test a lot of recipes. Sneaker says listening to your videos every single day while organizing. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Isabel, the budget doesn't work us. We work the budget. Yes.
Yeah.
Letitia, I agree with you on that. Income should be okay. Yes. Donna says, I made your barbecue meatballs. My husband loves it. Yes, we made that this weekend too. The homemade sauce is better than the stuff at the store. Yes, it is. She cooked and cooled it and froze it in portion size for him. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Letitia says Idaho is beautiful. Yes, it is.
It is beautiful.
It was prettier before, about 5 to 6 years ago, before all the Californians moved in.
I miss Idaho so much because I loved it there.
Can you send me the next ones, Mike? DRA says daycare for an infant is closer to $1,000 a month. I just cannot fathom paying someone $1,000 to take care of my kid. Wanda, she needs to cut down the amount saved for school's retirement. Yep. South Loop for Homestead says, I got here late. How old are the kids and how many? So it sounds like they just have one kid and then a baby on the way. And she didn't say the ages, but I'm assuming, I mean, if it's still in daycare, it's under 5. So Karen, after 18, they are on their own. Parents don't owe them college. Yep. Bev, how much does the average couple save or need for retirement? I mean, it just depends on how much money you want to spend on retirement. So like if you're planning on living on $100,000 a year, well, you're going to have to save enough money. Let's see, how much would that be? How much do I need to save to live on $100,000 per year for retirement?
Well, I can tell how much I am for one person.
Yeah, but you're not average.
Well, I know, but still, I've got a really nice house, you know, and everything's paid for and everything. And I get more in, but I live on about $800 to $1,000 a month.
Yes. But you don't do anything either. So
is that your taxes and stuff too?
Yeah, that's everything.
So if you want to live on $100,000 a year retirement, also receiving Social Security, then you may need to have $2 million saved by the age 62 or $1.9 million saved by age 67.
But you see, most people, when they get in their 70s, I know some people travel in their 60s and stuff like that, but by the time you get to your 70s, what Tara I don't think my kids understand yet, is you slow down. You know, you're not going as much and doing quite as much as you were when you were in 50, 45, 50 and that type of thing. So you won't need quite as much as what you've got. All the furniture you need, you got all that type of stuff already bought and paid for, you know, and you're in a comfortable area by the time you retire.
Yes, but people do want to have a life and do stuff like eat out and stuff like that when they're retired. So that's how much you would need if you want to not just live on Social Security.
Yeah.
Okay. Tina, trade school is better than any college right now. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, you guys are my favorite. I can't believe when you say people make terrible comments. I love the podcast. Oh yeah, believe me. This week I've had them all. I've been sharing my XLax affiliate link with several people. Well, expert to myself. I'll be done with my student loans this coming Friday. Good job.
Way
Your birthday
is
on Saturday. That's all I want is peace of mind. Very good. Good job. Lauren, I finally got y'all live. I usually have to watch the replay. Yep. Kimberly, spell check is killing me. Somewhere that money is flowing out of them, whether he's golfing, he's hunting, he's doing some kind of extra activity. Well, I would say, so yes, but if they're saving a lot for retirement and their kids I mean, they could be saving like $2,000 a month for that kind of stuff easily. So if that's the case and they're driving 45 minutes each way to work every day, you know, gas is a good amount of money for that too. So and if they have medical bills, so I would say that sounds about right. Nancy, the very best retirement savings is absolutely having no debt. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's agreeing, pay off the mortgage. Yep. Lynn, as for education, they should be stressing from now until the kids get out of high school that education grades are important. If kids get good grades, they may be eligible for scholarships. Yeah, like my niece totally got 100% right to college because she had all A's. Lauren, my father-in-law wants to retire, almost 65, but is still blissfully unaware of how much private insurance for his wife is going to cost because she doesn't work and isn't retirement age. Yep.
Yeah.
Laura, I made your roast chicken and added extra garlic for tonight's dinner. Yum. That recipe is in our Dunning on a Dime Volume 1. Also, if you go to Super Easy Recipes, my YouTube channel, you can see that roast chicken is one of my top recipes on there. Nancy, I live in Los Angeles. When we paid off all the debt except for the house, I became a stay-at-home wife. It's been almost a year and love it. Yep. In our early 30s with toddlers, it's doable. Yes, it is.
I don't think people really realize that if they got rid of the debt, you can do that. Yes. It's not a big deal. It's not as big a deal as you think. It's just getting rid of that debt.
Nancy, heard on average couple would need $250,000 a year, seriously, to live. Wow, that's crazy. No, you don't need that much to live. Peggy, I'm so glad my house and car paid off. Barbara, hello, Barbara. She says since she loves to cook, she could stay at home and have a cottage business cooking for those rich folks. Yep. Yeah,
I was going to say that too. She might be able to find something on the side she could do. Like I was talking to Tara, if she gets a lot of vegetables this year, she could set a table out at my house, where my housing area is, and just sell her vegetables, or she's selling some of her flowers too. And so you would be surprised how much you can make just doing little things like that a lot of times.
Yeah. Barbara also says, even with a regime change, inflation will take years to get better. Our incomes will go up, but inflation will stay for a while. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's just no way out of the hole that they're putting us in. And so, yeah, I mean, even if Trump gets into office, that would be great. But at the same time, I don't know that it's going to do any good. I heard, and look at the way people were spending while he was in office and everything was down low. They were still going to Starbucks. They didn't take that opportunity when there was low gas and all this low prices for stuff. They didn't take that opportunity to pay off their debt.
Yeah, well, the thing
is, it's like
people are still spending. They're seeing what's happening, but they're still spending just as much. They're not. And then in another year or so, they're going to say, they're going to be the ones that's like the grasshopper and the ant story. They're going to be hollering, we need help from the government. We need help with this, or from other people, because they were making fun and being merry and doing all this with their money instead of, when they saw what was going on, getting it taken care of.
All right. Okay. Cheryl says I'm debt free. It's a wonderful feeling. I now live on Social Security. Make it financially. Yep.
It does feel good. And, I think that's why Tara and I, sometimes we get, a little intense about trying to convince people to get out of debt and stuff. But we know what it feels like. We know what our viewers that have gotten out of debt, what it feels like. It changes your life in a way you can't even describe. I know people, like with the college, they want their kids to go to college because they think that's going to be, a wonderful thing, that type of thing. But if they're living in a home with stress from their parents all the time and the debt, and they're growing up in this stressful household, which would be better? And they have a lot of money to go to college at the end. But would it be better for them to live in a debt-free home where they're comfortable, they're relaxed, much more relaxed, and then think about college later on, type of thing? Yep. They'll be responsible. They'll be confident that they can go out and even pay for the college themselves.
Linda says you should do a special program for widows. She's just figuring all this out. Yeah, listen, wives, you need to be sitting with your husband and going, I keep thinking, if Mike croaks, I'm going to be toast with the business, because he does all the business side on the back end. And I'm like, I'm just going to be toast if he croaks, because
you don't have to figure the bills yourself if your husband's doing it, but at least sit with him like a couple of times a year and have him show you where you're at, and vice versa. Some of you are having trouble with your husband spending too much and you can't get them to get it under control. You need to sit down as a couple and figure these bills and see what bills you owe and where the money's going and where all the important papers are. You've got to do that. we just aren't prepping or prepared for anything very much anymore. And you need to.
Jim says you're not making the banks happy with paying off your mortgage. I know.
I know.
Wanda, congratulations, Tara, on using your phone to buy something. Thank you, Wanda. I was very proud of myself. Vicky, I never could understand stress shopping. Yeah, I don't really get that either. Kenneth, I received some Amazon purchases to the property after the house blew away. Oh, Kenneth. Tanya, I'm hoping to have my house paid off in a year. I told my kids no spending except for necessities. Very good.
Yes, very good. Now on Kenneth, I want you guys to, we don't mention this too often, but Kenneth is kind of funny. He's been telling us stories about his house and everything blown away. But, it's all in your attitude. It really is. If you don't have an attitude that you think you can do it, or you just, this is what happened to me, so I'm going to pick myself up and we're going to just move on to the next thing. This is just life and we're just going to do it. You've got to have the right attitude instead of the victim mentality or woe is me, or I feel sorry for myself. The people that have those attitudes, they're not going to make it. They will not, they will be the shopaholics. They'll be the alcoholics. They'll be the drug addicts. They'll be, addicted to coffee. Huh?
Just take up gardening.
Take up gardening.
Although I am very disappointed. I was talking to the guy at Walmart, and he said they're not marking down any of the plants this year because the company said they have to throw them all in the dumpster if they are.
I know, that's where we get a lot of our plants. I
got so many plants last year from the markdowns, and now I won't get it this year.
Can I tell them the story about the lady in her garden? What jumped out at her?
I guess. I don't remember.
Well, Tara talks about she has deers in her garden a lot of times, or raccoons or whatever. So I came over and told her today, I watched this gal on YouTube and she was embroidering. And she was just sitting out in the garden. You could hear the birds tweeting. They're weird, different birds. They're not birds I was used to hearing. So I knew she was she had like an English accent of some sort. And so I knew maybe Australia, New Zealand, someplace. I didn't know where. And she said, I wanted to come out and relax for about 15, 20 minutes in my garden today. And I walked out here and she said, I went and just was walking by some bushes and a gorilla jumped out at her. She said, scared me to death. This gorilla just came running after her. So I thought, oh my goodness, I've never heard of a gorilla jumping out of a garden before after somebody. And I thought, Tara worries about the deer. I thought, what if you had gorillas running around in your garden all the time? That would be something different. Like I said, she was in South Africa. So that would be unusual.
Yep, I don't have any gorillas coming after me. Thankfully. Karen, the interest on keeping the mortgage will be way more than the fine for taking the money out. Yes, exactly. I know. That's what you got to figure. Now, I'm not a financial guru or any of this. I mean, if you lose 50% of it or something, no, don't take it out. Get a second job or something and get your savings built up or whatever you need to do to get it paid off. But I'm just saying, make sure you know that it's not feasible for you to take it out and use that. Just make sure.
Actually figure everything out, like Tara said, when they took theirs out, because it ended up saving them in the long run. And like, especially if you have one couple, if one of them loves doing numbers, let them figure all the numbers all the way down. That's why we say with stay-at-home moms, you're not doing the figuring. You're not figuring what you're having to pay to buy clothes, to buy extra makeup, maybe for gas on the car and extra insurance on a second car. You have to figure every little detail out, all the way down. Are you paying for an extra lunch? Are you going out for lunch instead? Things like that. You've got to get it all figured out to the penny.
Patricia made our chocolate chip cookies and our peanut butter cookies, and they were the best she's ever had. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have oatmeal chocolate chip in this one, and then we have Toll House type in this one. So it just depends on what you want. The peanut butter on in this one.
And those peanut butter cookies, I took them to a ladies' meeting one time, and the gals love them. And what surprised me about it was they say, this is like comfort food to them. It reminds them of when they were little, their moms always sent peanut butter cookies, in their lunches.
Diana says, Mike, I see a costume in your future for a gorilla. About the lady had a gorilla jumping out at her in her garden while she was gardening.
Oh, I didn't tell Mike about that. I forgot. He didn't know about it.
Well, go back and watch the show later.
What was the scoop about me croaking?
I said, if you croak, I'm toast with business because you do all the back end business stuff. And so I won't know where anything is. Linda, my son worked between semesters and paid for his college. Good for him.
Yeah.
Ellen says, student loans are selling your soul. Yes, they are. Lauren, there's severe shortages of electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and they make great money. Yes, they do. Montana Girl says, someone said kids going to college was a status symbol for the parents. Not everyone needs college. Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's keeping up with the Joneses type thing a lot of times.
Ellen, putting yourself in a huge amount of debt before you start your career is worse. Yep. Sandy, parents do not owe their children anything. Yes. Linda, I went to military to pay for school. Yep. Claire says, get a scholarship and grants. Yep. Letitia says, I know a 20-year-old guy that just started an apprenticeship for electrician. Yep. Mike, can you see me the next one? Jamie says, yep, a lot of kids don't appreciate an education. I mean, you're just going to college because that's what you're supposed to do, or they don't know what they want to do. Exactly. Yeah. Tanya says, my kids had a 529 invested years ago, plus they got help from the military. My youngest gets good grades, so he will be eligible for scholarships. I don't have to pay for college. Yep.
And one thing, too, I was thinking the other day, when your kids are trying to decide what to do, now I see it on the internet, different places, and listen to kids talking, and they say, you got to find your passion and find a job that fulfills your passion, or what are you passionate about? Get a job doing what you're passionate about. And, that's about the worst thing your kids can do. You need to figure out what the child is talented at, gifted at, pretty good at. Some kids are more mechanical. Some kids are more, I don't know. Some like to actually clean the bathroom, believe it or not. They do. And so they have different things that they, do really well when they're younger, and you can start watching and they can encourage them in that talent that they do. And then when they get out of high school or from high school on, have them start training and learning in a job that they're good at, that their talent is in. Because then if you do what you're talented at, you can get really good at it. You'll gain confidence, you'll work hard, and then that means you'll succeed, and then you'll have enough money eventually to do what your passion is. My husband, he had a passion for player pianos. And this is the second thing about doing a job that's your passion. He loved player pianos. He loved dinking with them. That was his hobby. He did that all the time. So he turned that into a business. And what happened, it became so stressful for him running that business. He no longer had a hobby now. And so he had no way to relax, or to unwind or anything, because he turned his passion into his work. And so a lot of times people do that, and then they start getting stressed, and one thing after another starts happening. So don't always let the kids say, well, I don't know what I'm passionate about, and I need to have a job that I'm passionate about. No. Build on your talent to do your work, because it's supposed to be work, and then something you're good at, and then do the passion.
Well, here's a good example. I had a girl when we were in Colorado. She came and did some cleaning for me for a short amount of time, and she cleaned really, really well. I mean, she cleaned really well. And she told me, she said, well, I've got to go to college in the fall. I said, well, where are you going to college? Because she said, I would love to just start my own cleaning company. She said, I would love. And in Colorado, they got like $50 an hour cleaning. And I said, well, just start your own cleaning company. She said, no, my parents say I have to go to college. Well, first of all, when you're 18, your parents don't really have any say over what you do. I mean, if you're living in their house, mooching off of them, well, yeah, but you can move out when you're 18. It's very possible. And so I felt so bad for that girl, because she was going to waste 4 years and all those thousands of dollars, and all she wanted to do was start a cleaning company. And she would have been really good at it too. Okay, let's see. The next one is Dee. My best friend's father is literally a rocket science. I never knew anyone who was one either until Jill. I think a friend of ours, their son is a rocket scientist too. I think it was something along that lines.
It was one of my cousins.
Joe and no, somebody else. Joanne use septic safe products. No, we can't. So we have a lift in our basement. We call it the poop sucker. Because our sewer is above where the poop goes in the basement. So it has to lift. And we've always wondered what happens if the poop sucker stops.
There won't be much
Where does the poop go when the poop sucker isn't sucking anymore? We found out. So anyway, must have smelled lovely. Yes. Mel, Thomas says Mouse died from poopitis. Yeah, it was a mess. And the problem was, we were like, what happened was, by the time we got down there and you kind of step over to see what's going on, you're already in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to backtrack and go get poop water all through the house. So Ellie and I just stayed in there mopping, and the boys put on shoes and they went the other direction. And then I had them bring in the bleach, and then I started bleaching our way out, and then I bleached our feet as we went out. So yeah. Anyway, I just cleaned my toes yesterday because I was afraid. So I've had 3 baths since then because I was afraid. Sandy, my daughter applied for tech school and was 20. I told her I wouldn't sign the loan. The school called me and tried to tell me I had to sign the loan. I said, no, the school closed 2 years later. Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Got to be careful of these things. Yeah, that was good. But you didn't.
Lauren says we had a tornado pass by our house within a half a mile early Sunday morning, and we didn't get power back till yesterday. Wow.
Oh, that's awful.
Janet wants to know, what did I plant? So my peppers and tomatoes, I don't know what I do know what I did wrong. I literally don't have any place to grow plants in this house. So I should have set up grow lights, but I wasn't feeling like it. I was going to take the lights out of here, but they're up on the ceiling. We'd have to get the ladder and all that. Well, so I just didn't get my plants started in time. So my tomatoes and peppers are like this big. Well, I found some on Facebook Marketplace that were $1 and $3. So I bought them and I planted tomatoes and peppers. And then I got onions, starts from my friend in Mississippi. And I got those planted. And then I got radishes and turnips and cucumbers and spinach and lettuce all done. So, and then a bunch of flowers. So I got that. Ellen says her poop sucker is still going after 22 years. Yeah, well, see, our house is already, how old is our house, dear? Our house is 18 years old, so we're getting close. I don't know.
Well, I was going to have Jan come out and check it.
Yeah, Mike said we're going to call somebody. Maybe we should call somebody and make sure. Wanda says I put hair conditioner down my toilet when it plugged, used the plunger, and something worked. Oh, that's a good idea.
That is
I've never heard that before. That's a really good idea because it would make it slick.
Yeah, slicker than snot. It'll just go right down there. That is a good idea.
Huh. Okay. Oh, who said that? Kenneth says poop happens. Just not at 10 o'clock at night.
In your pajamas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. All of the towels and the mops and everything are still outside because I just had the boys just dump it on the rocks, and I haven't had a chance. I haven't had the courage to go out and deal with it yet.
Dude.
Yes.
You were talking about, you did radishes and turnips. We don't have the recipe in the book, I don't think. But something really good to do with radishes is I love to make radish sandwiches. You spread them with butter, soft butter, and then slice the radishes on a piece of bread, and then slice the radishes and make a radish sandwich out of that. That is so yummy for radishes. And I'd never known anybody else to have radish sandwiches before. My mom always had them and I had them, and I'd never heard of it. But somebody told us, I think one of our viewers said that they were from France, and that's what they did for the school kids a lot, was they'd make radish sandwiches for the school kids. So in case you guys are growing radishes and you need, some ideas of what to do with them.
Very good. Very good. Jim wants to know, Mike, do you have a great background tonight?
Oh. Let's see.
Oh.
There we go. That's better. Oh, Yeah, that's it right there. That's a place where Dave and I hiked 2 weeks ago, and Jack and I hiked 2 weeks before that.
Yeah, tell them what you did here.
Oh, this is a different place. This is a different hike.
Well, tell them what you did anyway.
Yeah, so on our last hike, we basically blazed a trail in a place where there really wasn't one. Well, there sort of was a trail, but not for the whole way. And there's a spot where we were going across a creek, and I was scooching across on my backside on a log. And when I walked away from the log about 20 feet, I realized, oh, my wallet's gone. I'm pretty sure it's in the creek.
Yeah, with our business credit card and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can tell that has just been a load of fun. Our first house had tree roots. I don't think it's tree roots because the upstairs plumbing was working, but the downstairs wasn't.
Well, and the place where it is.
And yeah.
Well, and the place where it is in our house is in the basement foundation. So there aren't any trees real close to the house. And so I don't think there'd be any tree roots in the concrete in the basement foundation. So,
yeah.
By the way, as far as the credit card that Tara was talking about, I'm a little concerned the bears are going crazy at Amazon.
funny.
All right.
But tree roots a lot of times is
Yes.
what causes that, because I had that in my last house really bad,
Yeah.
the tree roots.
I just don't think for our house that's the problem. TLR says daycare is $1,300 a kid on average. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's crazy. She says some more, some less. 2 kids would be $2,600. If she brings in $2,000, she would lose $600 a month. I know we talked about this last week on the live show. You got to actually figure the numbers. Laura just threw in the garlic cheese biscuits to go with the roast chicken. Both those recipes are in our Dining on Dining Volume 1. Guys, our cookbooks are on sale in the description below. Easy recipes, get you in and out of the kitchen quick with cheap ingredients. And you don't have to go crazy with a bunch of weird things that you don't. Shiitake mushrooms are not in there, let me tell you. Bounty the Badlands, you should get an organic septic tank tablets. I flush one down the first of every month and get the tank cleaned out every fall. Never had backup, but I only have one field. Oh, interesting. Mary says, if you have septic, put Ridix down at once a month. Yeah, we don't have septic. Thankfully, we have city sewage. Paula, we heard the news that the Big Macs are $20 in California, so I learned to make one at home. Oh, my word. I remember when they were $1.50. Good grief, I'm old. Vicki, I rented an apartment under my sister's house. I was getting ready for a job and food was coming up in my shower drain. That was fun.
Oh.
Found out through the plumber that it was my sister's garbage disposal upstairs in the kitchen. The line of the garbage disposal ran through the same pipe as my shower drain. Ooh, fun. Cindy, with owning your own business, do you put money into retirement or just focus on paying on your house first? Not sure what to do. So for us, we are focusing on getting our house paid off first. And then as soon as the house is paid off, we will be putting it into your retirement. Lisa, I know what the Bible says about litigation, but would you hire an attorney if wronged? Oh boy, this could be interesting. My mother left me a house and stepbrother took stepdad to change the will a week after her death and took everything. Yes. In that situation, I would definitely take them to court and get that. I would definitely take them to court. Wait a minute. They changed the will a week after her death? That's not even legal.
The Bible
is about
other believers.
Huh?
The Bible is about other
Well, yeah, and what the Bible says about litigating is about other believers. So I can't believe your brother and your stepdad are believers if
they're doing that.
If they're doing that, but definitely, I would definitely take them to court for that. Yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And sometimes you have to do that, even with believers.
Yeah.
So
it means more like if they do something, if people sue for little things nowadays, you know, if a doctor is doing a surgery and he did the best he could, and everything he could to save a patient, and it died, and the people go and sue him anyway, that would be wrong. That's not a right way to do it. But in this case, I would say, yeah, you need to. It's only right.
Let's see, Mike, can you send me the next one? Let's see, just a second. Linda says, Jill, that's what I retired on too. I lost my husband and I don't want to travel alone. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's perfectly fine, but there are people who want to do things. So if you want to do things like travel and eat out and spend a lot of money for whatever, and you want to if you're living on $100,000 a year now and you want to continue to live on $100,000 a year, you're going to need to have $2 million in retirement to save. So Hairtide says, my husband and I are both retired and we made sure to have multiple sources of income. Yes. Down in the Badlands, we worked our butts off to pay our ranch off totally in 2012. Since then, we put our extra income into retirement plus the sale of our ranch. Yes.
That's a good way to do it.
And yes, like Mike and I, if we wanted to, we could sell our house and totally retire now if we wanted to live in a cheaper house. If we wanted to do that, but we don't want to do that. We really like our house. So we are not just totally up a creek. If, something happens, we can sell our house and then take that money and put it into retirement if we need to.
But see, it goes back to the house again. And that's why I say, make sure you got your house paid off, because you can use that to sell if you need to go. Like my mom, we went and put her into assisted living and we sold her home, and she has plenty of money now by selling that house because she didn't have a mortgage on it, that she's comfortable where she's at, and she's in a really, really nice place, and everything. And so it's that house that everything pivots on that you need to make sure you have.
What is a okay? Oh yeah. Okay. C says, what is a reasonable grocery budget range for single, no meal shares with anyone? So mom spends $80 a month. I say $100 a month. I think is more than reasonable.
Yeah.
Lauren, I think it's better to live as debt-free as possible and expect a frugal retirement. Yep. Jamie, I made your super easy roast turkey for my husband's family and super impressed considering I'm a vegetarian. Right here. Volume 1 is where that recipe is, and you can go to livingonadime.com and get that recipe. It is our 2-ingredient turkey, the best turkey you will ever make. Mom's homemade turkey recipe. I made it just 2 weeks ago using our last turkey out of the freezer. Gail says I make $21,000 a year and I'm making it.
They're in the car. My keys are in the car.
Wanda says, I did well at Fred Meyer yesterday. I got 5 pounds of Jimmy Dean sausage for $2.49, spent $39. Receipt said I saved $41, but that didn't count the 2 markdowns I got. Very good. Nancy, Mike, try not to croak, please, because we don't want tar to be toast. So, I mean, I would figure it out. So, like, there was a few people that said something about, here, Bounty Badlands says, please make sure you have your own bank account. If your hubby dies, you still have your own account. So I still have my own credit cards that I've had for 35 years. And all of our stuff is in a trust. So I have access to everything. It's just dealing with the printer and actually, it's mostly dealing with the website.
Technical stuff,
all of the plugins
business,
we have to have on our website, which Google is trying to eliminate websites anyway. So we may not even need to worry about that. But
Mike will be obsolete.
So Mike will be obsolete anyway. So yeah, Linda, I live in a $600,000 house. I pay half the taxes, all the insurance, utilities. Kids pay the rest. They live downstairs. Very good.
Mm-hmm. That's another good thing too. I don't have a house like that now, but Tara and Mike's house is a perfect house for retirement. If you're going to be buying a house soon, you might check this out to have a house that has a basement with a walkout, sliding glass doors or a door of some sort that you can turn into an apartment at some point in your life. My last house, I thought about doing that because that way, when you retire, you can have somebody live down in that basement, and that'll be income for you. And that's one way to get an income for a lot of people, is to turn a room or an area that you have into renting it. And especially nice if your kids can, rent and live down there. And that was another thing I was going to say. In one way, having kids is really good for your retirement. I know that's not the purpose I had kids for, but if you have them, you've got to factor that in, because I know if anything would happen to me, my children would take care of me, and so if you have kids and you've stayed at home, and the kids love you and all this other stuff. I know it doesn't work for some families. I'm realistic in that, but the kids can help you out. And if push comes to shove in hard times, families can move in together. So it's nice to have a home with the double, living area like that.
Nancy says, encouraged my best friend to pay off her student loans, even though she wanted to stop paying while the pandemic freeze happened. For 2 years, she buckled down and paid it off 2 months before the payment restart. Very good.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. And how many people didn't?
Yeah.
And then when all that stuff started back, they're like, oh, I can't pay my bills. Well, that's because you went and financed a car during that time. Hello? Mary, women should be able to handle family finances too. Yeah, I mean, I can do it.
Oh, yeah, Tara can do it.
Mike just takes care of the majority of it. And so it would just be a huge pain in the patootie for me to deal with all that. Well, yes, you make it very convenient for me. So if you croak, I'm going to kill you.
And see, Tara doesn't have just an average person's income and bills and stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking business. It's like having an accountant, and a secretary and all that type of thing. And you lose them all at one time for a person. So,
yeah. Hello, Connie. She's in Deadwood. Hello.
Hey, Connie.
She leaves the TV on for her cat. How nice.
I did too, Connie, so don't feel bad.
Hello, Kimmy. What is Kimmy laughing at me now? Because I bought something on my phone.
No, I think it might have been about Mike kicking the bucket.
Oh, Mike kicking the bucket. Oh, Donna says dumpster dive for the plants. I would, except I think they lock the dumpsters here. I don't think it's allowed here. So I think most Walmarts started locking just for that reason. Because
you need to start a plant swap or something on market.
Rebecca, oh my goodness, oatmeal chocolate chip cookies in volume 1 are amazing. Thank you. She also loves the brownies, bread, and biscuits. We pretty much love all the recipes. Thank you.
Thank
Rebecca.
you.
25% off in the description below right now. Melissa, only speak positive over your life because God knows your heart. The devil only knows what you tell him. Yes and no. I mean, there is a point where you need to have a positive outlook, but bad things are still going to happen to you. So don't get into this whole prosperity gospel thing, but at the same time, don't get into the poverty mentality thing either.
There's a happy medium on all these things. Yeah.
Melissa or Lauren, let's see. Lauren says also the chocolate chip cookies are definitely the best. The dough freezes well too if you make little dough balls. Yes, they do. And she also, another Lauren says a great way to ruin a passion is to turn it into work. Yep, it is. Ask me how I know. Olympia, my passion is reading. Is there a market for that? Send me there.
No, I wish that's my passion too.
Yeah. Julie says, personally, I'm sick of the word passion. Yes. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and make somebody money.
Yeah.
Anne says men and women don't get paid Social Security on their, men and women get paid Social Security on their 30 highest working years. Women get penalized for staying home with kids when it comes to Social Security, don't they? I don't know if they do or they're not, and they may. But you know what? That's just part of it. If that's the case, that's just part of it. I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm sorry, you're having someone else raise your children because you're worried about it?
But if you're married, see, I got on my husband's. Whatever he made, I got to get my Social Security off of his
mom's
amount.
Ex-husband. We get this every time. Her ex-husband.
Yeah. And I got to do his. That's why I didn't get divorced right away, because I wanted to make sure I got his. I didn't know at the time for sure till I found out if I was going to be. You have to be married so long, just. But
years.
It's not a very long time. I don't
10
think.
years.
Is it 10 years? Yeah. And so then you can get on your husband. So really, if you're married, that's not a reason to stay home then.
Yeah.
I mean, a reason to work, not to stay home.
Nancy, my friend, was so thankful she was able to buy a house herself. When she had her student loans, she needed a co-signer. She always had a great paying job. Yep, exactly. Gail says, I have a garden after 2 years and 4 surgeries, slow and tired, but doing it. Yes, totally get it. Tanya, my tomato plants aren't looking good. They aren't growing, and light green and purple veins. Light green and purple veins means there's not enough iron in your soil. Just go get some iron and sprinkle a little bit in there, and that should take care of it. Helen says, pickled daikon and carrots. I have no idea what that is.
It's a big root.
It's a root, Mike says. Okay. And Dee Dee says, I love fried green tomatoes. Yep, I do too.
I love fried green tomatoes.
Gail says, I could eat a radish sandwich anytime. Yep. Benny Badlands also loves them. Sarah says, a good dose of laundry stain remover will unclog a toilet. It's a viscous liquid and slide your problem on towards your septic. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow.
Oh, you guys. Oh, that's funny.
Sandy, I roast radishes, a little oil, pepper, salt, and garlic. Oh, never heard of that one.
I hadn't either.
Debbie, yes, I love radish sandwiches, also cucumber and Spanish onions. Yep. Karen, instead of her giving money for college, they should have given money for her to start her cleaning business. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they should have done. TLR, our kids need some flesh in the game. Dollars, not a 4-year party. Yes. Mike, can you send me the next ones? Also says, I should have worked 3 years of Burger King out of high school prior to college. Would have helped me greatly. Yep, you're right. Julie, I made Mississippi roast into meatloaf. It was yummy. Yep. Dee Dee, I remember when the commercials would say, get change back from your dollar at McDonald's. Oh, that's funny.
I remember when their hamburgers were 15 cents when they first started. Yeah, and that was in California.
Jamie says, McDonald's is considering to remove the restaurants out of California now because of the $20 minimum wage requirement. I know. Well, I'm sorry. California and New York are just the toilets of the country. Wanda, my passion is not to be homeless or hungry. Yes, me too. I know. Okay, let's see. Well, Mike's getting me the next ones here. Bounty says, Tara, I need some suggestions for soft meals. Going to need 3 more days. Already tired of eggs, oatmeal, mac and cheese, and soups. I need some meat. Well, just grind up your ham and your roast and your chicken into meat sandwiches like they used to have.
And I just got through eating some Braunschweiger. I like that really well, something like that. And I don't know how soft it has to be, but can you do like tuna? You know, like a tuna with mayonnaise and that. We'll leave the pickles out.
Well, and just grind it up with the juice.
Yeah.
And just add some mayonnaise and put it all in there. I know it'd be liquid, but it would taste fine.
Yeah, it still have the same taste.
Weird texture, but the taste would be fine. Karen says hash. Yeah, that would be a good one too. Okay.
And we do have a custard recipe. It's not meat, but we do have a custard recipe. I know you're tired of eggs, you know, maybe, but I love eating the custard all the time.
That is in volume 1, I think. Jacqueline says, Tara, bring your pepper plants in the house or heated garage for the winter to save the plants. Yes. Yep. Jacqueline, I just made rhubarb juice by boiling it in water, adding ginger ale and sugar. It tastes like canned cranberry ginger ale drink. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to try that.
Oh, that
I love cranberries.
Good.
Oh, wow.
What is that noise?
Oh, Mike. Yeah. It's really dark out and my planters are outside. Can you go move them to the garage, please?
That was
the white ones.
Yeah.
The one she just painted. It's thundering
out.
Is
it raining?
Yeah.
No.
Do you need to help? Do we need to help?
He can get them.
He can get the boys.
Oh.
She has painted all the planters she's been killing herself building this week.
I'm not going to cry.
He'll get them in. He'll get them in time. How many were there?
3.
3. He'll do it.
Oh, man. Debbie, I had 4 children 5 years apart. No, I had 4 children 5 years apart years ago. My husband worked construction, so he was lucky if he worked half the year. We struggled severely. There was no way it would pay for me to work, so I babysat. Yep. Julie, you know when you say kids don't need college, I bet heads explode. It's sad, really. Oh, my goodness. You have no idea.
Stay-at-home moms and not do college is just like we get lamb blasted. For sure. There's certain subjects that just...
Margarine.
Oh yeah, the margarine one. We get
this week. It's the abused women and the depression. I need to be educated on depression and educated on what it's like to be an abused woman.
What they don't understand why we talk on these subjects is we have either some kind of experience or a lot of knowledge in these areas that.
Okay, just a second. I need to see if
shoots in this.
Sheridan, Wyoming. I'm sorry. I got to see if we're getting hail, because if we're getting hail, then we're going to go.
We're going to have to leave.
Let's see. Just a second. Oh, dear. There's a warning.
That means we have to throw our bodies over her garden.
Okay. No hail, hopefully. I don't know. It was pretty hot today, and it's looking pretty bad out there.
Yeah, it is bad.
What if kids can't afford to take care of the parents' bills? Well, the kids can't afford to take care of the parents' bills.
Then you can't. You know, I'm just saying hopefully by the time they're...
Well, and here's another thing. If you have parents who just squandered their money away.
Oh, yeah. You have no responsibility.
You have no responsibility for just paying for their bills. Yeah. Now,
there's exceptions to all
if
these
you want to
rules.
help them out, they can live in your basement or something or whatever. You can buy them groceries, and you can pay the electric bill or whatever. But if they're out gambling their money away, if they're drinking, if they're smoking, if they're severely obese and they're not cutting down on their eating and they're diabetic, all these things.
If they were irresponsible with their money all their lives.
Buying cars they can't afford, buying houses they can't afford. No, that's their tough cookies. They're just going to have to suffer.
And all these things have exceptions to the rules that we talk about, but those are the exceptions, and they're a smaller percentage. So,
Laura says, I was in an abusive relationship, and your wonderful advice helped me get safe and move out of the state. Thank you, ladies. You are welcome.
Oh,
here's the thing.
I'm so proud of you.
I had this lady.
So good.
I finally just blocked her. I just finally blocked her, but she was like, well, you don't know. You need to be educated on abuse. I have probably had at least 10 people between friends and families who have been in abusive marriages, and some of them severe. And let me tell you something. Out of 10, 2 left. All the other ones kept going back. When they got out, they kept going back. Listen, I have zero sympathy for that. Zero. And you will not get my help a second time. I don't care if he beats you to a pulp. You will not get my help a second time. And you can call me judgmental or whatever you want, but it's about time women started standing up and stop being the victim and take charge of your life. If you get out of that situation, or you have a possibility to get out of that situation, you are responsible for taking that. It is very few and far between where husbands are actually really going to kill their wives if they leave. You hear about them on the news and that kind of thing, but that's the exception and not the rule. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that you're responsible for him abusing you. I'm not saying that. And Laura, I am so glad she got out and was able to do it. But what makes me angry is when women either say, there's just no way I can get out. Well, I just can't do it. And there are people willing to help them. People have all these resources. We're ready to go. My aunt told me how abusive her husband was. My son and I drove 2 hours each way to go help her move. I hurt so bad I could hardly stand that night. 3 months later, she's back talking to the guy again. Mm-hmm. Secretly, because she didn't want me to know.
Yeah. Now that says it all right there, that she did it secretly. I mean, think about that. She knew she was wrong in what she was doing.
So I'm not saying that
that's
you're
so
the cause of him abusing you or anything like that. But at the same time, you are responsible for your portion of it.
And you're an example that it's possible. You can do this. It's possible to get out of that.
It just makes me so mad.
So I'm glad you told us
good
about
for you.
Yes,
because it can be done, and it's testimonials like that encourage people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Karen says Mike's better than the president in the mountains. Is the president in the mountains?
She means South Dakota, the Mount Rushmore, maybe. Does he look like Mount Rushmore?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
like Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, maybe.
Against the mountains.
Isabella says, we cook hot dogs on football night here at my house. Hot dogs rolls. Your favorite filling ends up around $20 for a family of 5. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, can you send me the next ones, Mike? What if the kids... Oh, wait. Sorry, got that one. Jacqueline, take wave petunia cuttings. Can you do that? I didn't know you could do that. I love wave petunias, and they are so expensive. They're $10 for a 6-pack now, and they're my favorite. But I will have you know, I have sold since Saturday. Today's what? Wednesday? I have sold $250 of my black-eyed Susans by just posting them on Facebook Marketplace locally. And I've sold $250 worth. So there's all of my gardening stuff for the year.
That's another way to make money, just more ideas of how to do that if you have to stay at home.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Were my boxes really wet, Mike?
They were not really wet, but the paint was dry.
Okay. Oh, phew, thank goodness. Mike said the paint was dry.
There were drops on them of rain, but not super soaked.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness. Kenneth, dumpster diving might be better than septic swimming. No kidding. Oh, Kenneth, you need to start your own comedy channel.
You do. I would watch you, Kenneth. We would watch you.
For those people that are married to military people that get a payment when they pass will not get all of what they were receiving. At least I didn't. Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
And Olympia says, throw some liver on the tomatoes. For iron? Really?
Yeah, it has really good iron.
Well, I know, but I mean, I've never heard of it decomposing in the tomatoes. I mean, I guess maybe. Can you send me the next one, Mike?
Yeah.
I guess maybe that would work.
Love liver. I love liver so much.
I don't know. Okay, let's see. Trying to get, here it is. Okay. Gail says, I do too, chill, but you couldn't say hold of the onions or whatever. Maybe she's meaning the radish sandwiches.
At McDonald's, they wouldn't let you.
Oh, they wouldn't let you hold the onions at McDonald's? Oh my goodness.
You had to get it just the way they made it.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Angela Tara bought 2 cases of stuffing for $5 a box. Each box had 20 bags. Wow. 48 cents
good.
For 5 pounds. Wow, that's great.
That is good.
Brenda, I bought my camper and now I own my home full-time living. Yep. Very good. Donna, make chicken, ham, beef salad with mayonnaise. Yes, that would be really good. Donna, I would panic because it's going to storm. I'm terrified of lightning. Well, I'm not afraid. I don't care.
It's just
I'm waiting for the hail to take out my garden again this year. Because we had snow 2 weeks ago. Well, no, 10 days ago. I don't know. It was just recently. Lori, oh my goodness, I'm really impressed on my children to get a master's degree. And after all is said and done, they say they could have been better off in tech school. My son pursued a career outside what he graduated with and is doing very well. My daughter had a wonderful scholarship and quit halfway through and is doing great. They both advocate for going to local community colleges or tech schools. I know. I know.
Another thing my son did, he started out in drafting. That's what he went to school for. But then he kept moving into companies. And then computers came out big time, and he's now an IT guy. But what he did, he kept moving into companies that would pay for him to go get certified in different things. So he didn't even have to pay to get, his training and stuff like that. So check into some companies. You may have to start down low, totem pole on the job level, but you can work your way up and they keep certifying and pay for your, well, even like at our Dairy Queen. They say if the kids will go to
they'll pay for college,
work there for 20 hours a week, they'll pay for their college. So at our Dairy Queen.
Olympia says, I have a question. How much should you give for a 50-year anniversary gift? Oh, I have no idea. I mean, and Paula says a gift card to their favorite restaurant. Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, it depends on who it is.
Yeah, I was going to say who it is and how much money you have.
There's another comment. She says, let me see. Well, first of all, she said it was a liver joke. Oh, okay. I was like, oh my goodness. But she says, my brother is so well-to-do and his kids are throwing an anniversary party. I feel like right now is such a bad time. Honestly, I wouldn't take anything. I mean, if they've been married 50 years old, they're 70 years old. Do they even need anything?
Yeah, the 50-year things that I've gone to before, they asked not to bring gifts half the time.
Well, so here would be a nice gift. Make a picture, and this would cost, like, depending on how big you make the picture, $5 or $10 at Walgreens, but have a picture of their wedding and of them now 50 years later. And put it together in a picture with a frame.
Or a collage of their kids or something of the family or something
like that. You can send me the next one's Mike. And Kenneth says, my daughter turned 30 on Memorial Day and her husband is crazy about her. Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I know it goes back to everyone says, I just don't know what I'm talking about. But it is very rare that a man does not show he's going to be abusive in the marriage. Like, I was looking at funny wedding videos, and now it looked like this was probably a Middle Eastern wedding. So, that culture is a little bit different and a lot more abusive. But if this was in America, although she didn't have a head thing or anything, but the bride was going in and out like this, joking with the groom with the cake, and he slapped her hand and she grabbed it like it hurt. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That would be divorce right there. I don't care if I was only married 30 minutes. That would be divorce right there. A friend of mine, her husband literally put her in a chokehold up against the wall 30 minutes before the wedding, and she still married him.
Yeah.
I don't have sympathy. It's extremely rare that they don't show. I mean, it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's extremely rare that they don't show their true colors.
Yeah.
Laura says, thank you so much. You are welcome, Laura. Good job getting out. And the frustrating thing is when there are people who are supporting these women, and I can understand being scared, but you have to listen to the outside voices and not your husband's voice if he's abusing you. You're being abused. Like that gal that killed herself, that's the pastor's wife. The pastor on the pulpit said that he went through her phone and saw 18 text messages from people saying, if you want to talk about what's going on with your husband, I would be confidential and I'm here to help you. But here's the thing. Now, I get she was groomed and all of this because he'd known her since she was 15. So there's a whole lot into this. But at the same time, the husband married her after he had an affair with her with his first wife.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, girls. If you're the affair, he's going to do it to you. You're not the love of his life. And someone needs to tell you this. I don't know who needs to hear that, but my goodness. Right?
Oh, that's Mike. Wait, you got to tell him, Mike. This is so funny,
so
guys.
Mike said, okay, we'll add Mike. Oops, how do we add us both on here? So, oops, wait, that's the wrong one. So Mike said, I watch Barnaby Jones.
Barnaby Jones is an old series.
So the flower boxes that Mike just rescued have been the flower boxes from hell. I'm not kidding. I'm probably up to 10 hours working on 3 flower boxes now after painting and everything. And I always wanted these dream flower boxes, and my wonderful husband said he would make them for me or help. We would both work on them. But as we were making the flower boxes, which I'll show you later, he's like, I do not understand these men who have affairs. He said, they're so stupid. He said, I wouldn't be that stupid if I had an affair. So go ahead.
Well, I was saying I wouldn't have one, but that's probably because I'm not that stupid. But I was saying things like, yeah, in the shows or movies, they're always saying, don't call me at home. I told you not to call me here. I'm thinking, you idiot. Like, would be better to have a separate phone, and not. Anyway, I just said to Tara, I watched plenty of Barnaby Jones. I know how this works.
Well, then he was like, I wouldn't even give him my real name.
Why would you give him?
Well, it just shows how people that do that sort of thing aren't really thinking with their brains at all.
Man, once a cheat, always a cheat. I know. I know. And I'm not saying this, I mean, this girl had a whole lifetime of stuff. But, if she was being groomed by this pastor when she was 15, where were her parents?
Yeah.
Why weren't they yanking her out of that place? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's her parents' fault or anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that could have been done. And there was a lot of signs along the way. This isn't just something that just popped up, and most of them are that way. Okay, let's see. Susan, is summer the slow time for book sales? Yes, it is our slowest season. Summer is our absolute slowest season. So, Peggy says, good for you, Tara. That's awesome. I don't know what I did, but thank you. Maybe it was buying my first thing on the phone. Jacqueline says, go to the greenhouse and look for petunias with many branches to take cuttings. In my other house, I used to keep a mother petunia in a windowsill and take cuttings in February. Still isn't too late. It only takes 6 weeks for the cuttings to root. How have I never known this?
Wow.
I love wave petunias. And I just spent $50 on wave petunias. I don't even care, actually.
She sold so many
$250
plants.
I spent it all my garden. But wow, I did not know that. Huh.
See, Tara makes money off of her garden, usually is what it is. So it's whatever money she spends is really like almost like a business type thing.
I usually earn as much from my garden as I spend. Actually, I usually earn more because usually I'm pretty frugal. This year I haven't been frugal because I wanted to get great big window boxes. So let me see if I can find the inspiration. Mine aren't going to look this good yet.
And
but
even like with 1 year, she was, and this is stuff you can do too if you stayed home. She was growing chives. They were coming out of our Kawazo forest. And so she was growing chives. And I would take them over to their local restaurant. And they loved having homegrown, chives like that to use in their restaurant. So you can check out restaurants, go ask them, say, I've got this garden produce, and you'd be surprised how many of them are more than tickled to get this.
Maybe Ray would trade some dinners, dear.
For what?
For our Mexican dates.
See, do that.
For what though?
For dinners.
In exchange for dinners.
For tomatoes, for salsa.
Oh, I see.
Maybe he'll exchange.
So, if you're known at a restaurant, you don't have to be known there, but if you are, you could do something like that, exchange your produce.
So I saw these at Silver Dollar City last year, something similar to this. And I was like, oh my goodness, I want to do that. Okay, you guys ready? Brace yourself. Look at that window box.
That looks like a Tara window box.
Is that not the most gorgeous? Oh, wait, here, we got to make it full screen.
Oh.
Wow, very cool.
Is that not the most gorgeous
Tara
thing?
window box.
Oh my goodness. So I had a dream.
She started building it.
So Mike started building it. Mike has a shirt that says, I do what the voices in my wife's head tells me to do. Okay. And I'm going to try that. Mary Ellen, my husband got his education in the Navy. Yep. Wanda, I remember a video where Jill was running outside to cover her windshield because it started hail. Yep. Yes.
That was awful
exactly.
that time. I remember that.
Yeah. You can send me the next one's Mike. DR says, saved my seeds from my pink wave petunias last year and started plants inside this year. Set plants out 2 weeks ago and have 5 hanging baskets full. They are beautiful. So here's what's interesting. My wave petunias have gone to seed, but I have never been able to get them to grow. So we're going to see, I'm going to see if we can maybe get a greenhouse up this year. Do I tell Mike? And if I can, I might try them in a greenhouse and see. But okay, let's see. Value Bad Lads, most people who celebrate 50 years don't want more stuff. Keep it simple. Yeah. Lisa, I was widowed and pregnant and felt led to homeschool. I had in-home childcare for $30 each 24-hour period and helped mom who were in school, struggling, etc. God was faithful. Very good. And Rebecca says, watch how the guys treat their moms and sisters. Yes, it is. I am not saying that women are the victims. What I'm saying is it's not that a majority of the time, it's not that you don't have any choices. You do. You are choosing to stay in this situation, though. And I know there's a lot that goes into the decision and all that. Kids, if he's threatening the kids, you need to protect them and all that. You need to start documenting all this stuff to get sole custody as much as you can. You need to start hiding money, start cutting back on your grocery bill and take that extra money and hide it somewhere so you will start being able to have some money come up. There are ways to get out of it, and you can. But
well, now there's so many organizations. Just even go to your local church, and pastors have lists of people that they would take you right then and there and take you to some place to help you, So it's not like we don't have stuff out there now, to help women. And even police departments have lists of places where they can put you and your children up for different things. So
Donna, my mama raised me to think like her. If a man ever hit her, he would be 6 feet under, or she would beat him so bad he would wish he was dead. Yeah, exactly.
I told my husband when we first got married, I said, I have a large cast iron pan in there and I know how to use it. He just looked at me and laughed.
Inbound says, do you have any advice for first-time mom at the baby stage? Just hang in there. Don't stress yourself out. Just get the basics done, like doing the dishes. I would say do the dishes, make your bed, and get dressed and put on your makeup every single day, which is very hard. I've had 4 children. Every single day, the dishes were done, the bed was made, and I at least got dressed and put on my makeup and at least put my hair in a ponytail or something neat. But don't just hang around in your pajamas the first week or 2.
I was going to say the first week or
fine.
2. Yeah, you do that the first week or
but
2. You can hang around in
after
pajamas.
2 weeks,
then you start.
It's still going to be very, very difficult. But if you just wallow in your pajamas, it's just going to make it worse. And don't pressure yourself. It's going to take 3 to 6 months for things to get stabilized. And then you can do
one
that.
thing too, that as a grandma, what I might suggest is if you have a grandma, a mother or mother-in-law that's willing to come over and help you at this time, let them come and do it. Don't feel like they think that you can't do it or that your house isn't clean and they come over and they start cleaning. They're not doing it because of that. They're doing it because they know what it was like to not be able to keep up with things and how hard it was. And they're just trying to help. So if your mother-in-law says, can I come over and do this for you? Say thank you. Yes, you can. Thank you. And let them help with the baby as much as possible. If friends or anybody like that, if they volunteer to come help, accept it willingly. Don't think they're there thinking you can't do it. And don't panic. Just try to stay calm and not panic. So,
yeah. All right, let's see. Letitia says, I'd rather be single than to deal with a guy like that. Olympia says she's sorry, but she's frustrated with her family. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And you guys, I know there's a whole lot going into this. I totally get that.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
A lot more complications.
I know
than we're
there's
mentioning.
complications. I know that there's brainwashing, and I know there's stuff like that. But there are a lot of women who know this is wrong, and they know they need to get out. And yet, like with my aunt, they choose to go back because they don't want to be alone. They're afraid to be alone. Well, get over it. I don't care if you're afraid to be alone. You know, I mean, you got to get over it. You're just going to have to deal with being alone. And then after you've dealt with it, got through some counseling or whatever, you know, depending on the situation, you may be able to get remarried. But, you know, it just may be better if you have to just be alone the rest of your life. And you just have to deal with it. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Do I have pictures of my garden? Yes, I do. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So I have last year's garden on YouTube, I think. Didn't I do last year's garden, Mike? Oh, I know I did a tour somewhere.
I put some pictures on the community.
Nope, that's 20. Well, let's see.
Actually, her flowers are what would blow your mind away. Her flowers are like something you'd see at a botanical garden.
Well, let's see. This isn't very. Type in garden, and I have a few on there. I don't know.
Look at the flowers.
Yeah. I don't know where the one from last year's was. I was trying to see. I don't know where it went, but I had some. Let's see. Hold on. Let me show you garden. Let's see. Garden. Do I keep it on here? I must have taken it off. But anyway, I had a lot in my garden. Let's see. Well, yeah, here's one I'll show you real quick.
This is just one little tiny section. If you can imagine, all over.
Of course, this was thanks to Walmart and their this was Walmart and their it was their markdown petunias that I got last year, but here it is. Okay, now can you see it? There. I don't know why it's blown out. It is expanded.
Oh, it is expanded. Yeah. Oh.
So there is one wall. So this wall here along the top where the hanging baskets are is where I'm going to put the new flower box, one of the new flower boxes. But yeah, so that's my garden from last year, part of it. Wanda, didn't you have a garden channel? I did start a garden channel, but I never kept going. So, it was just too much work. So I just stopped. All right, guys, please visit us, livingondime.com. Get our books 25% off right now. Mike forgot. Did you raise the price?
Not yet.
Price is going up. So go grab it now if you want a good deal because the price is going up. I'll leave it this price now until Friday. Friday, the price is going up. Livingonadime.com. Have a good night. We will see you guys next time.
Love ya.